What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Atlas, and welcome back. Glad to have you. Now, we kind of fell face first into an avalanche of information last night. I apologize, because this was originally supposed to be a very short video, but hours upon hours, I just kept coming across information upon information. The plot just kept getting thicker and thicker, my dear friends. So yeah, by the time I got done with research, I was too tired to make the video, and all the notes I had taken down, for some reason they didn't get saved, and the computer, of course, had to reset, which it never does, and I lost a lot of stuff. I still have some of the high points, but I've pretty much forgotten about 80% of all the stuff I'd found. So don't be surprised if I make a few more videos on this or make a series out of it, because I call this the tool connection. The tool connection. I don't know if you're a tool head, Toolshed. Only tool heads will get that reference. Until here in a few minutes you will find out what that is in reference to. But anyway, I was there for a long while, and you may not be after watching this video anymore if you are. So, this is a video I've always wanted to do. I had suspicion when they released their last album with how long it took, and then the name of it, and a thing else, maybe two other things, like 2020 into January, the COVID-19 coronavirus coming about all over the media, and then out of nowhere, bam, it's a pandemic on 3/11, the anniversary of the meltdown at Fukushima, right? So, anyway, yeah, the title is Fear Inoculum, right? Fear Inoculum. Now, that kind of has like a double meaning, as right now it seems everybody has been inoculated with a fear inoculum, right? Like everybody's been injected with a fear injection. They're all scared, hiding in their house, scared of everything. And when fear comes into the picture, a lot of bad things can happen. People do things that they normally would not do, right? That's for the people that are scared. You shouldn't be scared at all if you are a firm believer in your personal Lord and Savior. Anyhow, that also works because of Bill Gates and his universal vaccine or whatever, and his digital tattoos, Mark of the Beast, Beast System, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. Apparently, the whole world has to be inoculated. It's gonna be mandated by this guy, Bill Gates, who is a nobody. I mean, yeah, he's a multi-billionaire. So I guess that means he gets to rule over us and tell us what to do, right? I mean, goodness gracious. Is our government not elected to do that? Supposed to be, anyway, but supposedly not. Our governments are all puppets. Guys like this who pay them all kinds of money and threaten them. Anyhow, it's all been big corporation, big corp for a long time now. But yeah, for your inoculum, look at the album label there. That was a new label that was made for the Tool album Fear Inoculum, their new album. That's a new one, new label, emblem, whatever. And when it is folded in on itself, it becomes a syringe. The plot thickens, right? Now, I knew about this for a while, but this other stuff I'm about to share with you is just ridiculous. Alright, so here's some lyrics from a song called Pneuma off of Fear Inoculum. We are spirit, bound to this flesh. We go round 1 foot, knelt down, but bound to reach out and beyond this flesh, become Pneuma. We are will and wonder, bound to recall, remember. We are born of one breath, one word. We are all one spark, sun becoming. Child, wake up. Child, release the light. Wake up now. Child, wake up. Child, release the light. Spirit, spirit, spirit. My goodness. Anyhow, Pneuma. What does pneuma mean? Pneuma is an ancient Greek word for breath, right? Now, how are they saying this coronavirus is spread, this COVID-19? Through droplets, and, well, mainly through droplets, they're saying, and also through being close to somebody and breathing in the air they have exhaled. So there's that. Now, here's this. Between 10,000 Days, Tool's last album, their previous album before Fear Inoculum, it was released on May 2nd, 2006. Fear Inoculum, August 30th, 2019. So, when you add that up, 5/2/2006, 8/30/2019. It is very interesting that you get 70% of a common year. 0.70% of a common year, right? What are the odds of that? I mean, it's almost like they planned it. Almost like they planned it. And of course it was 13 years later, right? Or 13 months. 13 years, 3 months, 28 days to be exact. But 13 years, yeah. And anyway, back to the 1333.70%. Are there any gamers out there? Many of you gamers will know that from 1337 you can derive the word elite, right? Elite as in elite. Now, this is not the first time we've come across this elite calculation in our videos. I think I stumbled upon it a while back when I was talking about Kobe Bryant's score mixed with some other things. But anyhow, yeah. So you got that. And now, prepare for this one. I knew no idea about this, and I was really a fan of this band for a long time, and I didn't even know that they had a demo called this. I didn't even know they had a demo, but they had a demo, right? And it was called 72826. Came out in 1991. Remember your 1-1 there. We're going to come across a bunch of 1-1s and 4s and 2s and 8s and 16s all over the place today. Anyhow, yeah, that album artwork is wonderful. I mean, it makes me wonder if it's something to do with, how do I put it? I'll go on. 72826 comes from the word Satan, spelled on a landline telephone keypad. So yeah, that's what those numbers mean. Look at a landline telephone pad, and that you get to the word Satan from those numbers. Or a flip phone, or any of the other phones that didn't have the full QWERTY keyboards on them back in the day. If you're old enough to know what I'm talking about. But yeah, sterilization. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't for some reason, but anyhow. Now, Opiate was Tool's first EP, okay? The first and only EP. It was released on the Zoo label. They had an EP and 2 albums released on the Zoo label. And then on the Volcano label, I believe it's called, they had 3 albums released on it. So 3, right? 33, 6. Anyway, Opiate. I didn't know this till I started doing this research, but good old Karl Marx, right? What a wonderful guy. I didn't know that they named this EP after a quote Karl Marx had done. Religion is the opiate of the masses, quote unquote. Now that was a quote by Karl Marx. Mr. Communist Karl Marx. Marxism. Anyway, that's what's brought this country to its knees. Is that garbage right there, that man, his philosophy was the boss of him, not the boss of me. Anyway, getting off topic there, sorry about that. Okay, so it was leeches, there we go, I got leeches on the mind, communism. Anyway, released March 10th, 1992, right? So, right, 3 March 10, 1992 to 7/26/2019 would be 10,000 days, right? Now, as we were saying, 10,000 days. Remember, that was their previous album before Fear Inoculum. So, you got your 10,000 days at 7/26/2019. So, let's see what happened on that date, guys, okay? Now, remember, this album came out in 92, okay? And look what we're about to read. The Opiate EP, not the album. July 26, 2019, 7/26. Trump administration to bring back federal executions after 16-year hiatus. So you're going to tell me that that freaking Tool knew back in 1992 that in 2003 they were going to put a halt on this, and then 16 years later, after the release of their album, right? Well, no, not after the release of the album. 16 years after 2003, I mean, my bad, sorry. That they were going to put it back in place, right? Trump administration to bring back federal executions after 16-year hiatus. Attorney General William Barr has directed the Department of Justice to resume the use of the death penalty, asking the Federal Bureau of Prisons to schedule executions for 5 death row prisoners. The federal government hasn't put a prisoner to death since 2003. 5. All 5 prisoners stated for death were convicted of killing children. Robert Dunham, director of the Death Penalty Information Center, says it appears they were carefully selected to tamp down public opposition to resuming federal executions. And they did a good job of that, right? I mean, who doesn't dislike or absolutely hate a child murderer, right? Somebody who preys upon the young, innocent, and weak children and defenseless. So yeah, we get executions back, federal executions, and a 44-year-old Mexican immigrant dies in ICE custody. Also, guess what? Unprecedented wildfires scorch 1 million acres of Alaskan forest. Alright. Russian police raid homes of opposition candidates in Moscow. In Russia, Moscow police have raided the homes of several opposition politicians, including longtime Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny, ahead of a planned protest tomorrow calling for free and fair elections. The raid came just weeks after election officials in Moscow rejected the applications of dozens of opposition candidates to be on the ballot during upcoming city council elections. So there you go. You basically have your dictator, Vladimir Putin, running the show over there in Russia. Or being the puppet man, anyway. The puppet man they have in place, right? Like just about everywhere else now. Anyhow, you guys remember that not long after this, or around the same time, the Hong Kong protests were going on. I think it was around the same stinking time. Maybe a little bit later. Or around this time, and then it happened later. But anyway, the Hong Kong protests were going on, right? They were all out there in the streets and whatnot protesting. Then, boom, the coronavirus hits. Bam. Nothing. They're all gone, right? Vanished into thin air. Vanished into thin air. And, we don't know if it was because of the COVID-19 or what. There is a thought that the COVID-19 was used as a distraction method to do what they needed to do there and what they need to do everywhere else. I don't know if any of you are historians or not, but think of the Night of the Long Knives. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google the Night of the Long Knives. Or you don't have to Google it, just search it. Look it up on some search engine, right? The Night of the Long Knives. That seems to be what's going on all over the world right now. Anyway, CEO of tear gas manufacturer steps down from Whitney Museum board after protest. Now this guy was the target of, or girl, I think it was a guy, was the target of non-violent protests staged both inside and outside the famed art museum. Activists say Safarian played a major role in suppressing popular movements in Standing Rock, Ferguson, and Palestine, and that the company supplied tear gas fired at migrant families seeking asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border. Oh my goodness, how are they even a company if they make tear gas? Cause did you guys not see the pictures of the dang tear gas that was supposedly being used, being fired at the migrants, the families? It was all a dang stage. GbC. I mean, there's pictures of them throwing the canisters themselves while they're smiling and whatnot. It's not tear gas. It's just a little bit of smoke or something that comes out of a canister. It's pretty much a movie prop is what they were using. Anyway, serial child sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein found unconscious in jail cell. Now tell me, how did Tool know that? What was it now? Yeah, that 10,000 days after their first EP, that child, the guy that ran the big child sex rings and whatnot, right? How did they know that Jeffrey Epstein was going to be found dead in his jail cell that day? 10,000 days after their first EP. How did they know, Unless they had a playbook or were told by someone, some organization, or something, right? And before he was dead, he ended up serving just 13 months in county jail, right? 13. Like I said, the number 13, 16, 4s, 2s, 8s, 11s. Just look out for those. They're going to be everywhere in this video. Alright. Now, here's another big one, right? Because lately, a lot of people, like on Richie from Boston and whatnot, they've been asking about the presidential seal, as it was gone there for a brief moment in history. A month, I don't know if it was that long. And then all of a sudden, it got put back, right? So, anyway, this was back in 2019, July 26th. 10,000 days after Tool's first EP, right? Trump appears in front of altered presidential seal meant to mock him. A 46-year-old graphic designer and registered Republican has been identified as the creator of an altered presidential seal mocking Donald Trump that briefly appeared behind the president at an event in Washington, D.C. this week. Charles Lizzett told the Washington Post he doesn't know how his creation ended up being projected on a screen behind Trump as the president addressed the Teen Student Action Summit on Tuesday. But he suspects a rogue staffer may have intentionally swapped out the image. The seal shows the traditional U.S. bald eagle with two heads, evoking the double-headed eagle in Russia's coat of arms. Instead of arrows and an olive branch, there's olive again, like we were talking about in our last video, the eagle is clutching golf clubs and cash in its talons. How about that? The banner with the Latin phrase, however you pronounce that, has been changed to a Spanish phrase that translates as, quote, 45 is a puppet, unquote. Now, You should know this. If you don't, Trump is the 45th president of the United States of America. I believe he came into office when he was 45 years old. So, there's the number rituals and whatnot. These guys love their numbers. And, don't just think it's human beings, ladies and gentlemen. As they're saying, this whole, our enemy right now that everybody's so scared of, the coronavirus, that's not what it is, that invisible enemy. There's a war going on. Trump keeps talking about it. It's a spiritual warfare. It's spiritual warfare. It's a spiritual war, right? That is what's going on. It's like when I did all the research and lost all of it last night because my computer restarted, which it does once in a blue moon, right? It also gave me a blue screen, which it never does. I've never had a blue screen come up on this thing until I had everything ready to go and make this video. Then today, when I began to make this video, now I'm not complaining, I'm just saying as fact, I had so many interruptions, it was insane. So many interruptions in all forms, from everywhere, from cell phones to people coming to where I'm at, to Facebook going off, Facebook messages. I don't even have Facebook open. Terrible site, by the way. I hate that. That's what everybody chooses to use. I wish we would go to a different platform where they do not censor us, just like on here. But yet here I remain, because that's what everybody uses. You guys barely find me on here, so you're definitely not gonna find me elsewhere. Anyhow, that's that for that. Now, just a day after President Trump made federal executions illegal again, right? After the 16-year hiatus, Trump suggests whistleblowers should get death sentence for treason, right? September 27th. President Trump lashed out Thursday over the growing scandal, calling reporters scum and animals, and comparing the whistleblower to a treasonous spy who deserved the death penalty. Trump made the remarks to a closed-door gathering of diplomats on the sidelines of the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Audio of his remarks was leaked to the Los Angeles Times. And here it is, a quote by President Donald Trump. And I quote, "Who's the person who gave the whistleblower the information? Because that's close to a spy. You know what we used to do in the old days? When we were smart, right?" Interesting how he uses that term. This isn't part of the quote, sorry, but that's interesting how he uses "when we were smart." Like everybody's been dumbed down, brainwashed, right? You get what I'm saying? Anyway, you know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart, right? The spies and treason, we used to handle it a little differently than we do now. Of course, he is referring to off with the head. Heads will roll, ladies and gentlemen. Heads will roll. So yeah, that was very interesting, and there's one or two other interesting things. I mean, Senate advances confirmation of ex-Monsanto executive to lead wildlife agency. So you're gonna put a dang executive or CEO, whatever they were, of Monsanto, an ex-Monsanto executive, to lead a wildlife agency. Are you kidding me? What is wrong with this world? A company that makes what I call Agent Orange's little sister. It's probably not even its little sister. It's just as bad almost. Goodness, Roundup is some bad stuff. I don't know how and why it is still being sold. What the heck? And then, not to mention, they sell out to a pharmaceutical company. Are you kidding me? They're gonna start putting these chemicals in medicine now? Is that what's going on? It's not like they weren't already, right? Like that mercury and whatnot in your vaccinations. Yum, yum, yum. Eat it up. Good for you. Mandated, baby. Or you can't be a part of society. Kind of like the mark of the beast the Bible's been talking about, right? The Bible spoke about that years and years ago. This is sounding a lot like that. I mean, not exactly like that. Anyways. Yeah, and then we have the chief. EPA blames California's homeless population for poor water quality. Right after they put a dang ex-Monsanto executive in there. The Garden reports she has ties to the Westlands Water District in California. I mean, no wonder it's freaking poor water quality. You got a dang ex-Monsanto person that has ties to it. They're probably dumping their waste in the Westlands. The Westlands are their wasteland dumping ground, right? Probably the water probably glows. Probably glows there. Anyhow, protesters defy security crackdown in Egypt, demanding ouster of President Sisi. Interesting. ISIS, right? ISIS. Sisi. Alright, here we are. Palestinian president condemns Israeli prime minister plans, Netanyahu, to annex West Bank lands, right? Like I said in a previous video, they were trying to take back what was once theirs, and they want to build the Temple Mount. That has to come to pass. And then we get the Antichrist and all of that. It goes with it. The beast. It seems like it's right around the corner, ladies and gentlemen. It really does. It really does. Alright. Chicago teachers overwhelmingly authorized strike on October 7th. There's 7. Senate confirms corporate attorney Eugene. No. Relatives of disappeared demand justice 5 years after Ayotzinapa mass kidnapping. 5 years after Ayotzinapa mass kidnapping, right? So a mass kidnapping happened, and apparently nothing was done about it for 5 years. Probably still not. 6 years later almost. In Mexico City, thousands of protesters marched Thursday demanding justice for 43 students from the Ayat Zenepa Royal Teachers College, who disappeared 5 years ago after they were abducted. 43 people abducted and vanished at once. And there's even a dang reward for it. And the government is offering a 1.5 million peso reward for information. And there's still nothing. Oh, goodness. And anyway, yeah, this is just one day after the 26th. Alright, the test. So that would be 10,001 days. But anyhow, I thought there was some very information on this date as well. Very interesting information. Now, here at Undertow, right, this was Tool's first studio album, their debut studio album, Undertow. Now, I'm not quite sure what Undertow means. I would look it up real quick for us, but like I said, I've got too many tabs open on my computer. I gotta get more RAM in this thing. Just can't handle it. And I can't find a webcam for the life of me. Like, I want to try and maybe put myself down there or something. I mean, you don't have to see me, but it'd just be neat. That's how I always pictured this setup. My computer screen and then me in the corner or whatever. So, yeah. Can't find a webcam, though. I might be able to use my phone with an app and do it. I don't know if it doesn't lag everywhere. Anyway, sorry, back to the topic at hand. Released April 6th, 1993. So 4/6/93, right? 4/6/93. Before we get into that, let's go back to Fear Inoculum, right? Okay. The album was released on the 30th of August. We know that. On Volcano Entertainment. Interesting about the volcano, right? I mean, is there a volcano about to erupt somewhere? About to have a nuclear winter. Not a nuclear winter, but a thing. I can't think of what it's called. Whenever everything goes black, the sun is blotted out because of all the ashes and whatnot from the volcano erupting. Anyway, prior to the release, the band formed in May 2019 in North America. It toured, not formed. It was reported in March that Jones had been working on album artwork, generally one of the last steps in the process. Alright, the band began pre-album alright, I don't need to read that. Anyway, yeah, that's what was holding it back, was the artwork, right? And then you guys saw the artwork. I showed it to you, and what could be done with the artwork, right? The album, let's see, the album's cover art revealed on August 5th was created by Alex Gray, who also created the art for the band's prior 2 albums. So for 3 albums he created artwork. And then I'd say they had one other guy create album artwork for the other 2 albums and EP. Again, 3 and 3. But anyway, that was just a little fun fact. Down here to the critical reception. Fear Inoculum received acclaim from critics. Before I get into this, Tool has always been held because of how they go about things, right? People have always been like, Tool will never sell out, right? Well, I mean, look at it this way. Every band or person who's ever made it big, every star, every musician who's ever made it big, 99% of them, I'd say, are freaking sellouts, okay? They are sellouts. All of them. Satan worshipping sellouts. They may not personally worship Satan, but they are indirectly doing it. Anyway, yeah, they gained a cult following and all this. There's some date, I need to look into that, where it was a claim that Tool had gained a cult following, basically. So yeah, I'm sure that's going to tie into a bunch of stuff when all this is brought to light. I'm not sure who's going to bring it all to light. I mean, I know I am right now, but I doubt this video is going to reach everybody that needs to hear it, you know. At least a few of you will hear it. Anyhow, but yeah, they were all didn't want to sell out. They couldn't stand mainstream music. No, wasn't about that. Didn't want to make music videos. Kind of like Metallica back in the day, said they'd never sell out, would never make a music video. Well, these guys have made 6 music videos, I believe it was. A total of 6, which is an interesting number to stop at, right? You got your 33, you got your 6, right? Freemasonry numbers. Anyhow, their videos were all very strange videos. I don't think any of their videos were like usual bands do, that show them playing their instruments and singing along. But anyhow, I say that because Fear Inoculum, a claim from critics at Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream critics, the album has an average score of 81 out of 100, which indicates universal acclaim based on 23 reviews. There's that 5 again. Alright. I want you to look at the name of the reviews here. Okay? All music, I believe that's what that says. Clash, right? I was talking about Clash the other day. Clash the Titans. No, maybe that was a post I made. My bad, I don't know. Not so, oh yeah, there will be no Clash. That added up to Hi Marlo Surof's name, something like that. And consequence of sound. You know, like we've been talking about the consequences of these EMFs that are being put off. And then 5G, what it's going to do. Step things up a notch, I assume. Get even more cancer. Who knows what else. Abnormal growths. And you have Entertainment Weekly. Yeah, financial times, right? Like we're getting ready to have a financial crisis and be in a worse situation than we were back in the Great Depression. It's going to be something the world has never seen before. That's how bad it will be. And they're going to resort to the digital currency. That's going to save us. And somebody's gonna come out on the scene, and they're gonna say, "Oh, we'll be your savior. Just do this and that, and we'll go with this digital currency here. Blah blah blah. Get your mark. Come on, sign up for the B system. Everything's gonna be all right, and we'll make it back to normal." Just like everything has gone back to normal. I mean, before the coronavirus happened, just like everything was normal again, right? After 9/11. There's that 9/11, right? No, nothing was like it was before 9/11. After that, before this coronavirus, they stepped stuff up a lot, like TSA and all of that. A lot. The Patriots Act was brought into existence because of 9/11. All of this you see going on right now, and a lot of other things happened because 9/11 happened and nothing was done about it. And you guys know what I'm talking about. The right thing that should have been done about it. Not going and invading a bunch of countries for their vast resources to make computers and get opiates for our medicine and get oil. You know, not because of that, and say they had weapons of mass destruction, whatever that is, that we never found. They didn't have a dang nuclear program. How do they have weapons of mass destruction? And then, anyway, I'm getting off topic. Alright. Where were we? The Guardian, right? The Guardian. Like, Guardian Angel. And not sure what that is or that. Pitchfork, you know. Rolling Stone. Yeah, I just thought those were interesting. But, yes, let's move on about. Let's see. Now this will tell you what the 11 means. The biblical meaning of number 11 comes from my understanding that it is associated with things that would be considered imperfect, a disorganization of systems, and the disorder or chaos of things. In numerology, the number 11 represents higher ideals, invention, refinement, congruency, balance, fulfillment, vision. So, balance through the fulfillment of a vision, right? From an invention of higher ideals. That's what this is all about, right? You know, on 9/11, their plans were laid into action. They invaded all those countries. Not only got all the resources, but put puppets into power, you know. Yes, man. Yes, man. They say jump. You say how high, man. Those kind of people. And also, those countries are still in shambles to this day, basically. They say they wish they had their leader back that we went and overthrew, right? And killed a person that was supposedly attacking their own people with chemical weapons, right? Chemical weapons. They use that so much, you know, it makes me wonder, I mean, are they gonna use chemical weapons on us? Actually use them, you know? I don't know, you never know in this day and age with the crazy stuff they've done and gotten away with. And are not held, they haven't been held accountable for anything. That's why this is rapidly progressing like it is. I never thought I would see this in my lifetime, but yet here it is, right on my doorstep. Because nothing's being done to stop these people, hold them back. There's no friction, right? Friction slows things down. That's what I was talking about in my last video. There's nothing, guys. It's like a child testing his luck on how much he can get away with until the parent finally does something about it and disciplines the child. We are the people. The Constitution says that it is up to us to hold our government accountable for their actions to keep our government from becoming a tyrannical government. And what do we have right now? My dear friends, what do we have right now? Anyway, the 11 carries a vibrational frequency of balance. It represents male and female equality. It contains both sun energy and moon energy. Here we are with this sun crap again. Remember that sun becoming. There's a bunch of sun and moon worshippers and Saturn and Venus and all that. Anyway, perfect balance, right? Consequently constant. Reoccurrences of number 11 in our lives often signal us to be aware of our balance. Alright. Now all this seems like a bunch of mumbo jumbo, but the power that should not be the synagogue of Satan, Mystery Babylon, apparently believes wholeheartedly in all this numerology stuff and just everything, right? Just like the pyramids and all that. They believed in all the stars and all that stuff, everything lining up, and it's still going on to this day. It never stopped. It's just more modern, and you can see it a lot easier now because of the internet. But people refuse to look this stuff up. I mean, not everybody, but the masses. Alright guys, anyway, so since opiate, right? Mr. Karl Marx's opiate was their EP, first and only EP, right? They had a first album, right after that, so, and that was called Undertow, right? Or did we? No, we haven't gone over this yet. I started to get into it. Alright, so Undertow, right? Released April 6th, 1993. So, this gives us a future date to look out for. Okay? April 6th, 1993. 8/22/2020. I mean, goodness gracious. You got 8/8/88, right? Or you got 4/4/44. That's 10,000 days after the release of Tool's first album. Now we saw just exactly what happened. 10,000 days after Tool's first EP. So what do you think will happen after Tool's first album? Right? Especially with what's going on right now, and then all these numbers right here, right? 8/22, the 4s, the 2s, the 8s. Goodness flipping gracious. So, between 8/30/2019, when Fear Inoculum came out, and 8/22/2020, it will be 11 months and 24 days. There's your 44, or your 8, right? And what is 8? 8, the number 8 represents infinity and everything in the universe, which is infinite. Infinite love, infinite energy, infinite time. In other words, 8 represents complete and endless abundance without any disadvantages. So, are we talking about transhumanism here? Is this inoculum that Bill Gates has concocted up, the Gates Foundation? Is it going to be what gives man, quote unquote, eternal life? Because in the Bible it says at a certain period that man will seek death and shall not find it. Right? That means you won't be able to die. Now that does not mean you have eternal life by any means, because you can only get eternal life through Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior, who offered it to us as a gift. It's free. All you have to do is ask for it and believe. Anyway, we skipped over some stuff coming to that. What did we skip? Alright. The 11 months, 24 days. Now on this date, August 22, right? 8/22/2020, or 8/22/22, whatever. It will be the 235th day of the year. There are then 131 days left in 2020. See, there's your 13, right? 31, 13, 13, whatever. And it's the 34th Saturday of 2020. There's your 3 4s. And that would be a Shabbat. Right, however it's pronounced, a Shabbat for the Jewish people who practice it. And on the 34th week of 2020, using U.S. Standard Week Number calculation, so the 34th week, 3 4s, 63rd day of summer. The 63rd, there's your 3 6, 666. There are 31 days left till fall. There's your 31 again, 13. Birthstone for this day, Peridot. And the August 22nd zodiac sign is Leo. So, Leo, what do we think of when we think of Leo? Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Who acted in the Titanic, who I did a video on just not long ago, a few videos back, right? About the Titanic and the Federal Reserve and whatnot. Yeah, that one. Yeah, anyway. He's also due to play, apparently Theodore Roosevelt's popping up a lot, because, Leo is supposed to play Theodore Roosevelt, I believe, in an upcoming film about Theodore Roosevelt. So, for some reason, a bunch of stuff about Theodore Roosevelt's coming up. I can't quite remember the other ones, but that's one of them. Now, August 22nd, 2020, United States holidays and popular observances. International Day commemorating the victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief, right? The International Day commemorating the victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief. So, we saw where federal executions were made legal again. After 16 years, Trump made them legal, or put them back into action, whatever. And also, the Patriots Act came into effect after 9/11, allowing any U.S. citizen to be detained for no reason whatsoever for an indefinite amount of time with no call to a lawyer or anything, right? And was it Obama or anyway, I think it was Obama, but where the drone strikes were allowed to be carried out on U.S. citizens. So they got that now, too. So yeah, just think of that and this. Victims of acts of violence based on religion or belief. They're trying to have this global everything, global currency, global religion, right? One world religion. With a one world religion comes getting rid of all the other religions, right? So it's going to be interesting. Let's put it that way. It'll probably be a bloodbath. I don't know. Anyway. And then you have National Tooth Fairy Day on the same day. Are you kidding me? It's like, oh, you believe in a invisible man in the sky. You believe like Santa Claus, like the Tooth Fairy. That's how atheists look at Christians. So yeah. Tool has a lot to do with everything, guys. A lot. Everything to do with everything. Anyway, we still have a few things to cover. The angel number 4444 signifies hard work. It's telling you that all your hard work will soon be paying off. All the sacrifices of the past few months will finally be rewarded, and all your efforts will soon be recognized. You should be very proud of yourself. It's like whoever's freaking doing all this is going by this right here. It's what they planned everything around, you know. And I mean, it's interesting because there's certain stuff we don't know about. Like we found out that there was certain days that you planted certain vegetables and fruits and whatnot to get the best crop yields, you know, the best results and yields from crops. You plant stuff on certain days and whatnot. Just weird, interesting stuff like that. And then how we're beings of vibration, beings of frequency. How frequency affects us and breaks our cells down, opening us up to disease, cancer, all kinds of stuff. And we're being bombarded with all kinds of EMFs. It is no joke. You can go look up the videos. I mean, I was watching a video of this doctor talk about, I think it was a doctor. I mean, there's plenty of doctors that do talk about it, but somebody was talking about how they did a test with bees, right? And they put a cell phone in an area of, it was where a bunch of bees, honeybees were, right? Where they lived, their nest. Their beehive. That's what I was trying to think of. The hive. Sorry. Their beehive. They put a deck phone or some kind of phone in the hive, the beehive. And then they had another beehive kind of nearby, but not that nearby, right? And the bees, the male bees, did not return. They left and did not come back to that beehive. The other ones, everything was fine in the other beehive, but at that beehive, that's what happened. And you all wonder what's happening to our bees. You think it's because of us and our carbon footprint. well, look into EMFs. I think that is the answer to the question of what's happening to our bees. Anyway, a rabbit trail it is. What is the meaning of 8? Okay, like we said, 8 is the infinite number, right? In numerology, the number 8 is a sign of power. Did I even talk about this? I mean, yeah, all of the sacrifices and all that stuff. Like, all this is going on right now. When it gets to be this date here, right? Saturday. The Shabbat. On August 22nd, 2020. Is, all their hard work going to be paid off? They're going to be rewarded. Alright. 8. Numerology. The number 8 is a sign of power and renewal. So when this number shows up in your life, it's a clear message that your turn has arrived. The 8 is the number of hard work, achievement, success, power, and influence. So if it's knocking at your door, then so are all of these things. It's an incredible omen, but it's also one which requires your participation. The number 8 also carries symbolism around obstacles and challenges. Well, like us patriots and Christians, right? How we're in the way of this global agenda, one world order, one world government. I mean, it's there, guys. Goodness gracious, they're talking about it themselves, for Pete's sake. So don't call me some conspiracy theorist, because there's no conspiracy theory about it. It is a conspiracy, yeah, that they're perpetrating right now, a giant one. And all I'm doing is showing you information, backing it all up. Alright? Backing it all up. Alright, guys, anyway, that is the end of the video. Now, I thought I had a tab up on Maynard James Keenan, which is the vocalist for the band, right? Let's see if we can find him real quick. Come on, Tool, producer Tool, come on, we're gonna get the Tool. Here we are. Alright, so Maynard. Yeah, see, there's their old logo. That was their logo for quite a while. And they changed it for the 2019 release, of course. Anyway, James Maynard Keenan, he is a very interesting character. He has 3 bands, right, that he maintains and keeps producing content for. 3, kind of like the Trinity, right? He is just a very strange person. His birthday was April 17th. What is that, 64? You can see it from back here. Yeah. So 4/17/64. Fours, and more fours. His age 56. what was really interesting was 2003 created Pacifier as a side project. 5/23. Where is it at? Since rising to fame, Keenan has been a recluse, although he does emerge to support charitable causes. He has also ventured into acting. I didn't know he'd ventured into acting, but yeah, he's reclusive and just interesting. I'm trying to find something here for you. Early bands, let's see. Tool, where's it at? It's crazy. This guy used to go around with a stinking card, right? Like a card for business. And the name on it was Jesus H. Christ. That was the name he used on his card, right? Maybe it says it right here. Where the streets have no name. Where is it? Oh, there was something about an earthquake. In February 2005, Keenan appeared as a surprise vocalist at a Seattle benefit concert for victims of the 2004 earthquake and tsunami in southern Asia, performing with the party. Now, this was in 2004, before Fukushima even, performing with, Reformed Alice in Chains, which is, I guess, Lucifer in Chains or whatever, in place of the deceased vocalist. That's not what I was looking for. I don't know why I can't find it for you. I told you about it. I just wanted you to see it for yourself. Here it is. It should be in our personal life. Yeah. Keenan has a reputation for being reclusive and controlling of his public image. He dislikes the manner in which celebrities are worshipped, and at one point carried business cards with the name Jesus H. Christ printed on them. When dealing with stalkers, Keenan has resorted to using a paintball gun to run off trespassers from his property. And apparently he knows jiu-jitsu. And of course, yeah, he makes his wine and whatnot. But anyway, that's all I've got for right now, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like there's a whole lot more to this than just that, but I've forgotten it. But maybe I'll put some more videos out in the future with that information. You guys take care. You do your own research and find out stuff, because it's never ending. It really is. It is never ending. And don't forget about our new date as well. I'm not saying forget the other date that I was talking about, 6/10/2020. I'm thinking it's going to be around 6/10 or 6/11/2020. Something very, very strange or bad is going to happen, or both, alright, or is going to be implemented, right? And then on 8/22, August 22, right, 2020, look out for something extreme to happen on this date as well. Now, I'm no prophet. I don't claim to be a prophet. That's not what I'm doing here. I'm just putting 2 and 2 together, right? And I am coming out with 4. A lot of 4s and 8s and 1s. If you know, if you see what I'm getting at. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by. Until next time, take care and just be safe out there. It's getting crazy. They just opened up 33 places to be tested at. Like, big mass places. Like, big crowds to gather to get tested for the coronavirus. Like, that's smart, right? Why would you want to go to a huge freaking arena with thousands of people and get tested for the COVID-19? But yeah, 33 Masonic numbers there, and of course they have boots on the ground at these places, helping out. Ready for action, ready to start shooting people with masks on their faces. Because people with masks on their face that are deemed sick are a lot easier to shoot than just a citizen. Alright, guys. Don't forget, pray. This country needs it. This whole world needs it. We're in a very bad position right now. Alright, guys. Atlas signing out. God bless. Take care. Until next time.